The political dynamics in Pakistan are now in full swing because the Azadi March that started from Karachi traveled across 1600 kilometers and now is sitting in a very huge number. It's a mammoth number of people who are sitting in Sector H9 in Islamabad. It is led by Maulana Fazlur Rahman. Now they are sitting there and they are putting up a major deadline and a challenge to the ruling government. Maulana Fazlur Rahman has said that the government has only 48 hours, and in that time, or they want Prime Minister Imran Khan to resign, and then a fresh election should be carried out. Now, what we're going to analyze today is that what basically has triggered this march, one, two, who will be the beneficiaries from this march, and number three, what if and what number three is going to be relevance of the religious element in Pakistan, especially in relation to Jamiat Ulama Islam. Now, taking point by point, number one, it should be understood that Jamiat Ulama Islam, or is a religious organization, and in that it's got some really strict rules when it comes to Sharia, in which participation of women is at the minimum possible level. And that is why once you go and see this mammoth gathering of thousands and thousands of people, you would not find even one female who would be there as a participant. So that is something that is very, very concerning when it comes to, if you talk about the country as a whole, and when you talk about giving equal rights to females in Pakistan, when you talk about giving equal participation and space for the females of the country, especially if you look ahead and if you want to see JUI leading the proceedings of Pakistan, it definitely is something that seems to be a very far-fetched idea. So that is for sure that JUI would not be seen as a ruling party for Pakistan in the future. Number two, JUI has, as I said, it being a religious organization. There are perceptions behind it that who basically is behind JUI if it is not there for power. One should remember that Pakistan has a sword of financial action task force hanging over its head, and it's only got time till February 2020 to ensure that it complies with all the requirement and the action plan handed over by the FATF Planetary Mission and the Asia Pacific Group. In that, it has been very severely and very seriously expressed that Pakistan needs to take out all elements when it comes to terror financing, terror facilitation, and even harboring terrorism through means which are not legal in Pakistan. I'm talking about fundraising, I'm talking about money laundering, I'm talking about other systems of funding in and out of Pakistan which are not even on record of the Pakistani government or its taxpayers. Religious organizations have also been one of the main pointers of FATF, and they have asked Pakistan to take action against those organizations who have strong positions in Pakistan, who are supportive of any kind of extremism and terrorism. So that is something that Pakistan has been asked to do, and Pakistan aims on going ahead and taking control of all the religious seminaries across Pakistan. It is registering mosques and seminaries on the name of different sects which represent, which own, and which govern them. It is taking steps towards ensuring that no kind of religious extremism is preached, spread in any mosque or any religious school. This notion, it has not gone very well with the religious elements of Pakistan as well. And they have voiced their concern, uh, criticizing the ruling government for playing to the hands of the West, as they say. And they believe that Pakistan does not and in fact, it needs to defend if the world is asking it to take action against religious seminaries, claiming that there is no terrorism or extremism preached in any religious school of Pakistan. But because Pakistan has decided to bring them into their own security ambit, bring them into their own governance eye, and that is something that is becoming and has been a major point of concern for the religious organizations who have now, as we understand in Pakistan, it seems pretty easy for anyone to play this religious card and proclaim that any ruling or sitting government or any person can be someone who would be acting as an agent of an anti-Islam perception that is being spread. Similar thing has been witnessed even right now. We have been seeing this that in the even in the Azadi March, there have been religious scholars who have been coming and talking on various points on the same lines. They have actually criticized the ruling government for uh, taking actions and taking steps which are, as they call, targeting the spread of Islam or the religion at large across the country and proclaiming them as not as religious scholars who should be respected. They believe that Pakistan government is trying to proclaim them as extremist elements which they do not agree to, and they are severely against it. It is said that, and it is believed that this is the reason why all of these religious organizations, especially JUIF and other people, have joined in and are ganging up against the Imran Khan led government. Number three, it should also be remembered that uh, when we do not see, because see, if these demands are met, one thing is very important, that Pakistan and Pakistan government and Imran Khan led government who felt and thought that Maulana Fazlur Rahman has now become an absolute irrelevant and non-important entity in Pakistani politics, because he's not sitting in the parliament lodges, he's not sitting in the National Assembly of Pakistan. That notion and that misconception has been brushed aside by Maulana Fazlur Rahman, because right now in Islamabad, it would be incorrect if I say that the number of people over there are not that big. They might be 40, 50,000 people. I can say this comfortably that they are in a huge number, and majority, over 85 to 90% of those people are belonging and are coming from Jamiat Ulama Islam under the leadership of Maulana Fazlur Rahman. So that pointer, that idea of this particular ruling government, that Maulana Fazlur Rahman is now a non-relevant entity into Pakistani politics, has been negated, because Maulana Fazlur Rahman has struck gold when he's come to Pakistan without even having one small issue of any confrontation or riot with the authorities. So he's here, and now he's proved that he's very much relevant to the Pakistani politics. He cannot be ignored. People can make fun of him. People can call him Diesel or whatever, but he cannot be ignored if Pakistani politics needs to move forward, because he's got head counts that people can stand and count and realize that they were wrong when they felt that he's an irrelevant person. Number three, what Maulana Fazlul Rahman is demanding is something very interesting, that he wants Prime Minister Imran Khan to resign, but he does not have the next step of what needs to be done. He's demanding general elections, he's demanding early elections, but because when JUIF, being a religious organization, we would not, and we do not see it actually taking control of the proceedings in Pakistan, of the democratic system in Pakistan. We do not see Maulana Fazlul Rahman as a sitting Prime Minister of Pakistan. Then what exactly is the idea behind it? The idea is that there were other opposition parties, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, Pakistan People's Party, led by Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif and Shehbaz Sharif. These are the political parties who would be seeing themselves and seeing this as an opportunity to strike gold on the shoulders of Maulana Fazlur Rahman. Because if Maulana Fazlur Rahman's demands of a resignation from the Prime Minister are met, if his demands of reforms in the religious understanding and the safeguarding of religious values from the Constitution of Pakistan, all of these demands are met, then definitely there will be elections. And in these elections, Maulana Fazlur Rahman himself would not be looking at him as someone who would be leading this country. So these parties, other parties, should be taking and should have taken this as an opportunity. Yet they are still sitting and waiting for a backdoor channel activated to ensure that their leaders, Mr. former President Mr. Asif Ali Zardari and former Prime Minister Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, who both of these people are in hospital, they should get an easy getaway or some kind of a settlement. That is why their participation in this Azadi March has not been that much. So it is interesting to see what comes next, because right now Maulana Fazlul Rahman has given a 48 hours deadline to the government to resign. Right now, this is a jalsa, this is a gathering that he's announced. But we believe that it is going to turn into a sit-in against the government. And going forward, he's also giving deadlines, and he's being very vocal about what they call Prime Minister Imran Khan as a selected Prime Minister. So these selected terms are being used repeatedly, and more often than not, they are referring to the strong, powerful military establishment of Pakistan, because they say that he's been selected by them to come in power and brought into power. It is also believed, and analysts say that there might be a chance that these other parties who would want to see themselves coming back into power would still be looking at pat on the back from the same powerful establishment. Because until and unless that is not done, and Maulana Fazlul Rahman is also not ensured some strong position into that cabinet, no decision might come out, or no concrete step might be taken to ensure that this whole Azadi March that is sitting in Islamabad comes to a conclusion. For now, there is confusion all around, but yet it is believed that in 48 hours something will happen. Maulana Fazlul Rahman has been very smart when it comes to revealing his strategy. He has been very critical in sharing those details. He said it initially. He said it's a march that's going to Islamabad. Then he said it is going to be a jalsa. Jalsa means a gathering. And now, what is his plan B, plan C, or what comes next is certainly a speculative analysis that analysts like myself are doing. But definitely, this is something that seems to be on the cards. On the other side, finally, and I'll conclude with this, that it is also being said that if this whole episode of Azadi March against the government is actually what it looks like, it actually is actually what they're demanding. If they are out for the people, they want the government to go out, then one way of doing that is that all of the opposition parties, because all of the opposition parties are in alliance in this Azadi March, if all of those opposition parties who have representation in the parliament as well, if all of them resign in one day, then it is going to automatically mean that the parliament will be dissolved and the government will be toppled. So that needs a lot of talks, that needs a lot of negotiations, and that needs a lot of consents and positive nods from a lot of members of the opposition, because if that so happens down the line, then definitely Imran Khan will be walking back home with an ousted government. But till that time, it more or less seems like a pressure tactic. But even let it being a pressure tactic, it seems to have a massive impact, because the number of people who are currently sitting in H9 sector in Islamabad is huge. It's a tent village over there, and every day you see on the television screens that number of people is a lot, and it is going to be increasing with the coming days. So we will have to see what happens next, just putting everything in perspective of what seems to be happening on ground, who might be whose positive pats on the backs are being looked for, worked for, and what exactly seems to be the idea behind this whole Azadi March. The pressure on the government is there for sure. They are feeling it, and because of that, they are making mistakes. Small, big mistakes are being made in terms of statements, in terms of other steps, which basically show the exertion that they've been forced to be in. Imran Khan and his cabinet is working and trying to negotiate with this Azadi March team, but yet there have been no results, and we will have to wait for 48 hours to pass and see what will be the next step that Maulana Fazlur Rahman will announce. And will he move towards Parliament? If so, then that is definitely going to be something to watch out